Here's some of what's headed your way tonight on your News at 9.
Southeast Kansas residents are once again having issues getting unemployment benefits from the Kansas Department of Labor. I'm Zach Dodge with the story.
As things progress with the coronavirus, we're continuing to learn more about the long-term implications of having had the virus. I'm Chris Warner. We'll introduce you to one man who's still dealing with those implications nearly a year after contracting COVID.
And you'll learn about the point-in-time homeless census and why it's so important to the Homeless Coalition of Jasper Newton Counties, who's participating in it. Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy has our weather, Sports Director Jacob Leonard's on sports. I'm Mike Mahoney, and this is your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, thanks so much for tuning in. Some Southeast Kansas residents are fighting problems with unemployment insurance and pandemic assistance. KOAM Zach Dodge tells us how it's impacting one Iola family.
Iola residents Vicki and Jack Geisler have both been unemployed since March. They qualify for unemployment but have run into a few snags.
It's a little over $3,000 they owe me.
Vicki says that at first she was able to draw unemployment without many issues. It wasn't until her regular benefits had been exhausted when she applied for pandemic unemployment assistance that she stopped getting checks. That was 6 weeks ago.
He told me that my weeks were payable and they would pay out as soon as they got the updates fixed in the system. Haven't seen any money yet.
Her husband's unemployment was set to end this week, but that last check is being delayed because of a security update the Department of Labor is doing.
We were relying on that last bit of money to help pay the utility bill, and guess what? No money because they stopped everybody's payments from going out. So we're stuck in a hole right now with no way to get out of it.
And the Geislers aren't the only ones. The Kansas Department of Labor says there's currently more than 14,000 pandemic unemployment assistance claims that are in the determination process. The department also says they've not yet put that program online because they have to update their 70s era computer system to do so. And when it comes to regular benefits that are being delayed due to the security update, they say they're not sure when the funds will go through, just that they will. So in the meantime, residents like the Geislers are left waiting.
Pay the people what you owe them, just pay out. Get things rolling so people can get their money because there's so many people that need it right now.
Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
Well, Vicki Geisler does tell KOAM she was hired for a new job today, but she won't get her first paycheck for at least 2 weeks. All right, time to take a look at your first weather, and for that, we're going to turn things over to Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy. Doug.
Hey, Mike. At least we got some sunshine outside for us today, so temperatures better. Is about 12 degrees warmer for us today. We started at 27, 43 for a high, so pretty close to where we should be for this time of the year. We do have a lot of mid and upper level clouds which have been working in, so partly to mostly cloudy skies tonight and partly to mostly cloudy skies again for us tomorrow, even though we will have some sunshine. But our next storm system brewing out to the west, right across parts of California, that will start to affect us late tomorrow night. Mid-30s right now. I think we'll drop back near 30. Later on tonight, we have south winds which are kicking in. That's going to keep our temperatures up just a little bit. So 31 to start, 40 by 9, 49 by noon, then a high temp right around 54 during the afternoon. We're going to look at this next storm system here in just a bit.
All right, thanks so much, Doug Heddy. The Kansas Department of Health and Environment rescinded a stream advisory for Buck Run Creek along the area of East Scott Avenue and west of Highway 69 in Fort Scott. Officials say a manhole overflowed into the creek because of heavy rain. The city of Fort Scott repaired the problem, and the KDHE has found no health risk in the water. An assistant principal at a Southwest Missouri junior high school is facing charges related to child pornography. Federal authorities say 41-year-old Colby Fronterhouse, an assistant principal at Nixa Junior High School, is charged with sexual exploitation of a child for the purpose of producing child pornography. A court affidavit says Fronterhouse pretended to be a 14-year-old girl sending sexually explicit messages to a 13-year-old boy. Federal authorities also say Fronterhouse gained access to the victim's cell phone through school records. Authorities arrested Fronterhouse on Tuesday. He is on administrative leave from the junior high while the case is being investigated. As we continue to learn more about the coronavirus, we are also learning more about its long-term impacts and those that it can have on those who got it. KOAM's Chris Warner has more.
Oswego resident Anil Garmacher is a truck driver who owns his own trucking business. He says he was on a delivery in late April of last year when he began to notice symptoms of COVID. So he went to the hospital to get checked out.
When I first got released from the hospital, we had trouble breathing for the first 3 months. They couldn't really figure out why. And we were in and out of the hospital and taking high doses of steroids. And stopped breathing, and my airway closed a few times.
Things seemed to go from bad to worse.
Before they put me on the ventilator, I thought I was going to die. They gave me an hour to say goodbye to my family before they put me on the ventilator and sent me up to Kansas City. But when I woke up and when I remembered who I was, because that took about a week, I thought that this was going to be over. We were going to get out. I beat the hardest part of it.
Freeman physician Dr. Rob McNabb says what Anil has been experiencing is known by a number of names, such as long COVID and long haulers.
And basically all those things describe one thing, which is symptoms that last longer than 12 weeks after the initial infection. And so as we've gone through this year, we've collected a lot of information along the way about these people that have these symptoms.
Dr. McNabb says extended symptoms and issues related to having COVID are becoming quite common and vary in severity. However, he says the severity of your COVID symptoms doesn't have an impact on any long-lasting conditions.
It would be pretty common to think that if you had a really bad infection and you were in the ICU, that you would be more likely to have these symptoms. But the truth is that even the patients who had very mild cases are still just as likely to have symptoms.
Anil says he's had several surgeries to stabilize his condition and still has more on the way. In the meantime, it's taking a toll on him and his family.
We've been kind of a family in a bubble. My girls that live with us, they're on virtual school, and we don't do very much social interaction, if any at all. We're very, very careful nowadays.
I'm Chris Warner for KOAM News.
Anil says some of his issues came as a result of being on the ventilator. He says COVID weakened his throat and the ventilator caused damage, which his doctors are working to repair. The Joplin Health Department reports 3 more COVID-19 related deaths. They say the patients were a 54-year-old man and 2 women ages 71 and 73. The latest deaths bring the city's total coronavirus death count to 115. The Homeless Coalition of Jasper and Newton counties is working on getting a count of all the homeless people in the region. They do that by trying to meet them where they are. Once the count is complete, it helps local agencies leverage private, local, state, and federal funds for local programs.
It's important to do to raise community awareness of the homeless in the area. This town here, Carthage, doesn't have, I don't think, as much of a homeless problem probably as Joplin does. It's also important for funding sources for our continuum.
The Homeless Coalition was established in 1989. Today, the Missouri Welding Institute kicked off their 11th annual welding competition in Nevada, Missouri. The competition brings in around 150 high school welders from across the area to compete for a scholarship to the Missouri Welding Institute.
I wish I would have slowed down a little bit. I finished, I was the first to finish, and I still had like 46 minutes left.
That's a quick welder. The first place winner gets a full scholarship and the second place gets half of their tuition paid. All competitors get a $1,000 scholarship and the competition will continue tomorrow. Missouri Senators Roy Blunt and Josh Hawley say they have reintroduced legislation aimed at improving the safety of duck boats. They originally filed the legislation in response to the sinking of a Branson duck boat in 2018. The legislation would authorize previously outlined National Transportation Safety Board recommendations, including provisions to require the use of life jackets and equipping all operating duck boats to be more buoyant in the case of emergency flooding. And it's now time to honor one of our many four-state heroes. Tonight, we recognize Paul Fast of Lamar, Missouri. Fast served in the U.S. Army and he fought in World War II. Thank you, sir, for your bravery and for fighting for freedom. For more information on any of our four-state heroes or to nominate your own, just log on to KOAMNewsNow.com. We'll be right back with Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy and your full forecast.
Well, of course, we got some sunshine outside for us today, which is always nice to see. All week long, we've had the clouds. Of course, we had showers, thunderstorms, had some snow. We do have more clouds rolling back in, but at least we got some sunshine out there for us today. Great time-lapse Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course, just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Temperatures, though, they've been cold over the past several days. Finally, today into the 40s, so back to where we should be for this time of the year. 31 in Iola, 33 in Independence, 34 in Parsons, 36 in Miami, 38 in Neosho, Anderson, 37, Nevada at 33. So we are getting cold again. We're going to drop back near 30 later on tonight. But we do have south winds, which are increasing just a bit, a little breezy out there, but these will actually help our temperatures stay up a little bit for us tonight. On top of that, we got some clouds, some mid and upper level clouds across the region. That will also keep our temperatures up a little bit for us tonight. And we're going to have a lot of clouds tomorrow, but we will see at least some sunshine, which is always great news. But this is the beginnings of our next storm system out to the west. We have a nice ridge of high pressure on top of us right now. That's why we had a good day today. That's why we're going to have a nice day tomorrow. But look at the system out across western parts of California. That is the system that is going to kick in and really change our weather up as we head into tomorrow night and then also into Saturday. For us tonight, we look fine. We're going to have some clouds out there. We'll drop back near 30 for an overnight low. Friday looks pretty good. Partly sunny skies. Clouds thicken up again during the afternoon. But temperatures, pretty good. We start at 31, 49 by noon. High temp at 54. It is going to be windy. South winds at about 10 to 20. Tomorrow night, clouds continue to thicken, and here comes the rain. Starts to spread in 3, 4, 5 a.m. early Saturday morning, and then rounds of showers and thunderstorms Saturday morning. Nothing strong, nothing severe, but pretty wet system. Showers, thunderstorms continue to work through into the early afternoon. Then here comes the dry slot. So this kind of cuts off a good chunk of the moisture, and then we'll just kind of go down to clouds and showers scattered as we work into Saturday afternoon. But rainfall amounts decently impressive. I think a lot of areas could pick up half an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch, even upwards to an inch of rain with this next storm system. So it is going to give us quite a bit of rain. After that, after this system rolls through, you can see it right here, then we get another nice ridge of high pressure that rolls in Monday and Tuesday and pretty good temperatures. Then here comes our next system. By Wednesday into Thursday, this could be rain over to snow, but if you look at the jet stream, it's straight out of Canada as we work into next weekend. That's going to give us several waves and also much colder temperatures by the time we head into Super Bowl weekend. 54 tomorrow, 56 Saturday, cooler Sunday, but back near 50 on Monday, 56 on Tuesday, rain chances Wednesday, and then a high of only 34 with some snow by next Thursday.
All right. Thanks so much, Doug. We'll check back in just a little bit. Still to come, President Biden isn't slowing down on his executive orders, and it's ruffling some Republican feathers.
President Biden says his executive orders are about undoing damage by former President Trump. I'm Lauren Blanchard in Washington with reaction from Republican lawmakers on those decisions coming up.
More than half of people with credit card debt added to it since the pandemic began. According to a new credit report by creditcards.com, 51 million people piled on more consumer debt since March of 2020. Nearly 2/3 of debtors say a continued surge in COVID-19 cases would impact their ability to make even the minimum payments over the next 3 months. Today, President Biden is rolling out another executive order. This one focused on strengthening the Affordable Care Act and expanding access. But GOP state attorneys general are already pushing back. Fox News' Lauren Blanchard has more from Washington.
Day 9 in office and more executive orders from the White House. President Biden's focus on healthcare Thursday as he works to strengthen Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act, which was weakened under the Trump administration but never replaced. The orders will open a special enrollment period for Obamacare from February 15th through May 15th. He'll direct federal agencies to reconsider policies that limit access to those with pre-existing conditions. He'll rescind the Mexico City policy, which prohibits federal dollars from going to foreign groups who provide abortion assistance, and begin rescinding Title X, which stripped millions in grants to Planned Parenthood and other abortion providers.
No one should have to choose between their livelihoods and their own health or the health of their loved ones in the middle of a deadly pandemic.
Even before the pen hits paper, the measures are already facing pushback. 6 attorneys general from Republican states writing a letter to President Biden warning legal challenges. Quote, "If you sign unconstitutional laws passed by Congress, it will be our responsibility and duty to challenge those laws in court."
I think anytime a new president comes into office, you want to give people the benefit of the doubt. But what we've seen in the first week alone is deeply disturbing.
The attorneys general also threatened action if President Biden signs executive orders on the Green New Deal or spending and immigration measures they deem unconstitutional. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
Still to come, we are updating you on the recent Wall Street drama.
It's a rebellion on Wall Street between retail traders and hedge funds, and someone's going to lose big. I'm Christina Partsinevelos in New York. Why shares of companies like GameStop and AMC have surged over 100% in just one day. That's coming up.
Internet stock traders and Wall Street big shots are butting heads. You have retail traders that use platforms like Robinhood and TD Ameritrade fighting against institutional investors like hedge funds. And the weapons being used are companies like GameStop. Fox Business Network's Christina Partsinevelos breaks it down.
GameStop has seen its stock price decline since 2015. People just aren't going to retailers to buy video games anymore. And so big hedge funds saw this trend and said, hey, let's bet that this stock will fall even more. In other words, they shorted GameStop. A group of retail investors who are part of Reddit, TikTok, Facebook noticed what the hedge funds were doing. They banded together, bought some of GameStop, and pushed up the price of the company. The short sellers, like those hedge funds, lost billions of dollars.
Those hedge funds that are short the stock, that believe that the price will be going down, are getting squeezed.
In January, GameStop stock climbed over 1,500%, but the stock is incredibly volatile down today. The internet traders continue to post forums encouraging each other to hold GameStop, and now they're doing the same thing to other heavily shorted stocks like AMC, BlackBerry, Koss, Nokia. The risky behavior, though, has everyone watching.
The administration is taking a look. The SEC is taking a look at what that is, but we'll all be reviewing it.
Trading platform Robinhood even announced it would restrict transactions due to the recent volatility. And now a trader has filed a class action complaint against Robinhood for restricting trades. Many Wall Street veterans say that these new retail investors are inexperienced and lack diversification. So just as much as this stock could climb, it could easily fall, crushing their portfolios. That means there's going to be winners and there's going to be losers. In New York, Christina Partsinevelos, Fox News.
Toyota becomes the world's top-selling automaker. The Japanese car company beat Germany's Volkswagen even after reporting that its group-wide global sales fell 11.3% in 2020. Despite the loss, that's still better than Volkswagen, who reported a 15.2% drop in global sales. This marks the first time in 5 years that Toyota is considered the world's #1 car retailer. Coming up, with the official doomsday clock at 100 seconds to midnight, we'll hear from a 4-state prepper about being prepared without being scared. Welcome back. The Bulletin of Atomic Scientists recently announced the time on their doomsday clock. That's the organization's symbolic measurement of how close its committee believes humanity is to apocalypse. The time remains 100 seconds to midnight, but as one man tells KOAM's Jesse Orwin, being prepared doesn't mean you have to be scared.
Say the power did go off for whatever reason, an EMP or a solar flare that comes in, then you're looking at not having nothing. So how are you going to feed your family? How are you going to feed yourself?
Beneath that sinister pall of smoke, the world...
Doomsday preppers. While they prepare for the worst, their intentions are usually for the best. Over the last 31 years here in Wyandotte, Oklahoma, Dwayne Converse has become the prepper's prepper.
You know, you have different events like Y2K, so forth and so on. You have all kinds of events that shocks people, and then they start thinking about that. But when 9/11 happened in 2001, that was a real big year for people being scared to death, like, well, what's next?
However, it's not only in the wake of those moments of fear that surplus stores like Dwayne see a lot of first-time customers walk in the door.
Happens every day, because once they start worrying about, well, this could happen, and if they talk to family members or whatever, they think they're nuts. They're like, ain't nothing ever going to happen. So they come in, so they kind of feel me out, and it's a natural response. And the next thing you know, they come in regularly. They want to talk about stuff, and I'm glad to share my knowledge. I feel like it's my my duty to do so.
That's where he sees it as an opportunity to be proactive, not paranoid. Sure, it could maybe help in the event of the most unlikely doomsday scenarios, but Dwayne reminds us that it can also prepare us for the ones we see every year and the ones we never see coming.
We want to encourage people to be self-reliant as much as they can be. That varies from person to person.
Keith Stammer, the Emergency Management Director for the City of Joplin, says his office encourages people to think in terms of everyday situations like floods, fires, and weather events.
And to think in terms of 72 to 96 hours, to have enough supplies in terms of water, food, medicine, clothing, radio, batteries, those type of things for that period of time, because that's about how long it takes to get ourselves organized and figure out what happened to us and what we need to do about it and who can we get here to help.
And while the preppers in Dwayne's world choose to store a slightly larger supply, he says his time in the military is when he learned just how valuable those basic items can be.
You've never seen poor until you get in those types of areas. Central America is extremely poor. And so it enlightens you just how simple life can be if you just have a few things.
Showing how a little preparation can mean so much.
I would think in your soul, I think you just feel the need. You just know in your gut that maybe you should prepare. It's just the way it is.
All right, well, don't go anywhere. We've got a lot more news headed your way, as well as another look at your weather with Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty and your KOAM Sports Report with Sports Director Jacob Leonard. That's all coming up right here on your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
Another coronavirus relief package is in the works, but its price tag may make it hard to pass. I'm Ray Bogan with a look at an alternative that's being explored coming up.
As America continues to battle with COVID-19, Senate Democrats say they will start working on a coronavirus relief package. But its price tag is making other lawmakers hesitant. Fox News' Ray Bogan takes a look.
First thing I got to do is get this COVID package passed.
President Biden's top legislative priority is another COVID relief package. He's calling Republican senators, hoping to make a deal. But the $1.9 trillion price tag is not sitting well. Neither are his executive orders on climate change.
In his first actions, President Biden managed to kill thousands of jobs and paralyze America's industries.
847,000 Americans applied for first-time unemployment benefits last week, and new Commerce Department data shows the economy shrank 3.5% in 2020. Democrats say that's evidence more help is needed.
We are in the midst of a once-in-a-century crisis. It requires a once-in-a-century effort to overcome it. The dangers of undershooting our response are far greater than overshooting.
Democrats are exploring passing a COVID relief package using a process called budget reconciliation. It would allow them to go around Republicans and pass a package without their support.
We'll pass a reconciliation bill if we need it.
I don't think it'll be good to do it that way because I think it'll take longer and it'll be, messy.
The cost only appears to be growing. 50 House Democrats wrote a letter to President Biden urging him to include recurring cash payments to Americans in the next stimulus package. They say it would provide a long-term lifeline to struggling Americans for the duration of this deadly pandemic. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar suggests those payments should be $2,000 a month. Ray Bogan, Fox News.
Protests over lockdown restrictions in Lebanon turned violent. Dozens of people chanted and clashed with the military throughout the streets of Tripoli in northern Lebanon. A heavy security presence was seen today as protesters blocked a number of major roadways throughout the city. Security forces fired tear gas in an effort to contain the crowd. The protests have been going on for several days now and have gotten deadly, with one person dying on Wednesday. At least 220 others have been injured. We'll be right back with Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty and another look at your weather. Plus, we're also talking about Super Bowl party concerns during the pandemic. Stay tuned.
Well, it turned out to be a pretty good day for us today. At least we got some sunshine out there. And we have had some mid and upper level clouds rolling through this evening. But all in all, pretty good day. Great time lapse. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo's just outside of Seneca, Missouri. But much warmer. yesterday. We couldn't even hit the freezing point for a high, but we did go into the 40s today, which is pretty close to where we should be for this time of the year. We are cooling down. Fort Scott 31, 34 in Independence. Pittsburgh 33, Miami 34. We have Cassville at 32. Nevada is sitting at 34. And I think most of us will sit right around 30 a little bit later on tonight. But south winds kicking in. This is going to keep our temperatures up just a little bit for us tonight. And those are going to increase during the daytime hours tomorrow. But again, that's going to help our temperatures warm into the 50s. We have some mid and upper level clouds streaming through. Nothing underneath the clouds. Will stay dry tonight. We'll stay dry on Friday as we have this nice ridge of high pressure. This is our upper level map. You can see a little it looks like a hill. That's a nice little ridge of high pressure on top of us. But our next storm system out across parts of California, giving them very heavy amounts of rain, which they need. But that system will also give us some heavy amounts of rain by late tomorrow night and into Saturday. Tonight's okay, just cold. We'll see some sunshine during the morning hours, some mid and upper level clouds stream in during the afternoon. I do think most of the day looks pretty good. We'll start at 31, 49 by noon, high temp at 54. South winds 10 to 20 and gusts a little bit higher than that. Clouds thicken tomorrow night. Showers start to spread in 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. These are going to be light, but by daybreak, we get heavy periods of showers, even some thunderstorms. Nothing strong, nothing severe, but some heavy amounts of rain into the early afternoon. Once we get to this point, the dry slot kicks in. We'll start to dry out. We'll get a few random showers during the afternoon, but the heaviest rains definitely in the morning hours. In fact, I think a lot of areas could pick up half an inch, 3/4 of an inch, maybe upwards to an inch by the time we head into Saturday evening. All right, let's go down the road. So we have this nice ridge of high pressure on us now. Here's the weekend system. Behind it, another ridge of high pressure. So Monday looks good. Tuesday looks good. Then our next storm system comes out on Wednesday. This is going to be mainly rain, but on the back side, we may get a little bit of snow as we head into Thursday, and then these weak waves continue to rotate through late next week. Plus our jet streams out of Canada. That means temperatures are going to be quite a bit colder, which you can see on the first week here, by the time we head into Super Bowl weekend. And we could get some light snow showers on that Saturday, and then another system on the 10th and 11th that could be rain over to snow. So we'll be focusing on that over the next couple weeks. 54 tomorrow, 56 Saturday, cooler on Sunday, but Monday and Tuesday looking pretty good.
All right, thanks as always, Doug. And with the upcoming Super Bowl, many four-staters are getting excited to celebrate. But is it possible to do this safely? KOAM's Bronte Soronsky talked to restaurant owners and some health professionals. Check it out.
Your Super Bowl parties may look a bit different this year. At least, that's what public health professionals recommend.
My advice would be to stay away.
Donna Stokes, an infection preventionist at Mercy Hospital, says that although we may be seeing a decline in COVID cases locally, we can't let our guard down just yet.
There's the potential to see a spike after the Super Bowl. I think people are really excited. Go Kansas City Chiefs. And I believe that we will see something very similar to what we saw after Christmas and New Year's.
She says that those wishing to visit a bar or restaurant to watch the game should opt for takeout. Local restaurant owner Floyd Hackett is trying to take precautions against the virus by having customers pre-order for game day and practicing social distancing.
You have to call, and you can call or come in and get on a prepaid list. And then, or you can call and come in and get on the list to reserve a table. Now we're gonna have to do social distancing, and we're gonna have to make sure everybody's taken care of. But I mean, during the game time and stuff, we did that. Everybody had a ball in here, so I mean, we could just go keep it going through the Super Bowl.
While this Super Bowl is certainly one to be excited about, it's important to keep safety in mind while celebrating. In Joplin, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
And of course, you can watch this year's Super Bowl between the Chiefs and Tampa Bay Buccaneers on our sister station, that is KOAM. On CBS. All right, stay tuned, sports fans. We'll be right back with Sports Director Jacob Leonard and your KOAM News at 9 Sports Report.
The East Newton Patriots are 17-1 with just 2 weeks left in the regular season. The Patriots are on an 11-game winning streak and have made it up to number 5 in the Missouri Class 4 state rankings. Tonight, East Newton puts that winning streak on the line, hosting the Joplin Eagles. A good start for the Patriots. Lucas Kimbrough puts it on the floor. He posts a game-high 21. First quarter, though, all about Kyson Lehman. Lehman working across the lane, then turning the other way, plus the foul. 10 in the first quarter for Kyson Lehman, finished with 18. Second quarter, Eagles try to stick around. Look at the crossover from Dante Washington. Knocks down the three, then just before half, always right, straight to the basket. Eagles get within 7 at the break. East Newton pulls away to make it 12 straight, 66-50. After putting together a 7-game winning streak, the Pitt State women have dropped back-to-back games against UNK and Fort Hays State. Tonight, the Gorillas hit the road to Northeastern State, aiming to get back on track against the Riverhawks. Kaylee DeMitz ties a season high with 25 points. Pitt State wins at 65-50. Men's game was a little closer, but the Gorillas also win that one 68-62. Missouri Southern's also in action tonight on the road against Rogers State. Maddie Stokes had a huge game for the Lions. 31 points, 21 boards, 7 blocks. Lions won that one by 3 in overtime. Southern men right now tied at 63 with 10 minutes to go. The Uniontown girls are on a roll right now, winning 8 straight games. Sports reporter Danny Terzer catches up with the Eagles to talk about what's behind the team's hot start.
It's been a special season for Uniontown's girls basketball team. The Eagles are 9-1 to start the season. Coach Dustin Miller says the break over the summer was a blessing in disguise.
Allowed the girls to really settle in and realize how much they love to play the game of basketball. So when we were able to get back going again, they came out firing.
Carly Schoenberger has made a statement in her senior season.
When she comes off the court, she's usually mad at me because she doesn't want to come off. And that's what I like to see.
She's definitely someone that I can rely on all the time.
Last week, Schoenberger reached 1,000 career points.
I kind of teared up. I was like, that just happened. Like, that was a huge goal of mine. That's great for anybody at any level to hit 1,000 points, especially here. Not many people have done it, so it's pretty impressive, and I'm super excited for her.
Her running mate, Danielle Howard, is the team's leading scorer, averaging 18.8 points per game and giving the Eagles a strong 1-2 punch.
We've always had great chemistry. She's point guard and I can score, so it just kind of has always clicked. We've always just pushed each other to be better, and that's what helps us get to where we were today.
A hot start for the Eagles, but there's still work to be done. As Uniontown now heads into the second half of the season, they'll look to close it out just as strong as they began.
We still have to keep working hard in practice every day, doing those fundamental skills, just keep that team chemistry going as much as we can and just work hard.
The goal is simple: win the league and make it to state. In Uniontown, Danny Terzer, KOAM Sports.
Uniontown will be back on the floor tomorrow night, hosting Chautauqua. Well, finally, Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy appears to be staying with the team for at least another season. Bieniemy interviewed for 6 different head coaching jobs this year. He's also interviewed for multiple times for other jobs the last 2 years, but he has yet to get the call. Here's Chiefs head coach Andy Reid on having Bieniemy stick around.
I'm glad I have him, but I'm not so glad I have him. So I was really hoping that he would have an opportunity to take one of these jobs. I mean, you guys know what I think of him. I think he's great, and I think he would be great for any of the number of teams that opened up and help them win football games.
That's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Welcome back to your news at 9. World Health Organization investigators are free to begin field work in China after a 2-week isolation period. They plan to visit research institutes and hospitals in hopes of learning more about the origins of COVID-19 in Wuhan. Fox News' Greg Palcott has more.
A team from the World Health Organization begins an on-the-ground investigation into the origins of COVID-19 in China. The group leaving a 14-day quarantine Thursday in Wuhan, where the virus was first detected back in 2019. Their field work will potentially include a visit to a seafood market linked to some of the first cases.
They will continue to jointly exchange views over the investigation into the origins of the coronavirus, which will include meetings, interviews, inspections, and other activities.
China initially resisted an independent investigation, leading to months of negotiations. but there are concerns over how much access China will give WHO officials. State media has cast doubt on whether the virus originated in China, instead suggesting that it began in Spain, Italy, or the U.S. On Wednesday, the White House press secretary expressed concerns about misinformation coming from some Chinese sources.
It's imperative that we get to the bottom of the early days of the pandemic in China.
Since the pandemic started, more than 100 million COVID-19 infections have been reported worldwide, and people are facing an added threat as multiple new strains spread. Here in the UK, officials have tightened travel restrictions for British citizens coming in from nearly 24 high-risk countries.
We will require all such arrivals who cannot be refused entry to isolate in government-provided accommodation, such as hotels, for 10 days.
The UK is currently in its third coronavirus lockdown, which is set to be reviewed later next month. In London, Greg Palcott, Fox News.
We are not done yet here in your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. And when we return, we are taking a trip to Argentina, where the largest dinosaur ever to walk the earth may have been found. Details are headed your way in just 2 short minutes. Let's wrap the show with a story for the dinosaur fans in the audience. And hey, who doesn't like dinosaurs? Paleontologists in Argentina may have discovered the largest dinosaur that ever lived. The group of paleontologists say the dinosaur measures about 43 yards from head to tail. The remains of the massive Titanosaur sauropod were found in 2012 in Argentina's Patagonia region. Researchers say the remains were left at the site and the pandemic delayed discovery teams from excavating them any further. The new sauropod has not been given an official name at this time. If it's confirmed as the largest dinosaur, it would surpass a titanosaur dubbed Patagon Titan that weighed nearly 76 tons. All right, well, thanks so much for wrapping up your evening with us. We will leave you with a video of penguins in the snow over at the St. Louis Zoo. Looks like they're having a good time. And of course, we will see you tomorrow for more KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. Have a great night, and as always, stay safe out there.